I don't know what's going on, but I got that Inspector Gadget tune stuck in my head.
It happens once in a while. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, it's such a
Da,
freaking catchy
da,
tune.
da, 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 doo.
I kind of want to go and try to. They need to put all the old Inspector Gadget classics on Netflix. I legit would just sit there and watch them. This is how sad I am right now. I just want to watch
Just
Inspector
talking? Well,
Gadget.
what's the show about? It's about nothing. It's about nothing.
Just want these guys to know you got another thing coming, bitch. I'm still around.
I think I wouldn't like it now.
I probably wouldn't like it, but I want to hear that song and its like authenticity. Anyways, what's good, Ranjit? What is up?
Chilling, man.
Hey.
Chilling.
Bro,
Yo.
nothing goes on. Life is so boring.
We're short a P in the pod today, aren't we?
No, he's here. His mic just sucks, so we can't hear him properly.
Our old man Robbie.
Hey, yo, Robbie,
Yeah,
say something. Brother, you need to fix your mic. I can kind of hear you. Can you hear him?
Yo, can the protesters help Robbie get better internet? Can they chip in?
Yo,
'Cause
the
his internet sucks
protesters.
too.
Yo, legit, these protesters have a better sound system. Do you see the freaking tweet about their concert going on?
No. What
You didn't see this?
What sound system? No.
Dude, hold on. So these protesters in Ottawa, after the friggin' police chief said, we're going to crack down on everything about them. We're going to lock them down. They're not going to be able to do anything. These friggin' guys built a friggin' huge-ass stage in that downtown thing, and they have, like, speakers and lights, and they got rock bands up there making music.
Yeah, that's where that lady was on the mic. She's like, "Are there any white supremacists here?" The crowd cheered. Yeah.
No, but now they have a bigger
That
stage.
stage?
No, they got a bigger
shit.
stage. You want to see this real stage?
Yeah,
Dude,
I'm down.
they got a legit stage. Like, it looks like a concert stage. And so they got this thing up, and everyone's like, how the hell did they just build a stage and police not try to intervene?
You know,
Like,
all that's missing is like a rock star or some rapper showing up there and like performing for them to give them like any validation they're still missing.
So there's certain rappers that are pretty, like, down with their cause, right? There's this one guy, Ryan McDonald, I think his name is. He's a rapper from Edmonton. He's this rapper from Edmonton. He's like a Canadian rapper. He's a very right-wing conservative type thing. Like, don't politically correct me. You can't cancel me.
Right.
He's this white guy with like face tattoos. So, he's kind of fucked up right there. I ended up like, he showed up in my feed a few times. And this guy legit, he's got flow. I'm not going to say he doesn't have flow. But, hold on, you're in Discord, right? Let me just paste this to you. You got to see this friggin' stage. This stage is massive. It's a beautiful friggin' thing they built. Right? They got
man.
these guys are friggin' putting on a show better than Jazzy B. We'll get on talk about him later too. But I'm telling you, they did this literally like an hour after the police chief said, we're on the case, trust us.
Yo,
Right?
the real talks, his officers are just trying to get him fired. Like,
Yeah.
it's so blatantly obvious. The chief's like, we're cracking down. No more horns. There's a court order. And then you see the cops. Like, there's a truck blowing the horn. They have the ability to enforce the court order, and they're not doing it.
So I'm legit
They're making
curious.
the chief look stupid.
Let's just ask this question point blank. Are the protesters winning?
What metric do you use to see if they're winning or not? Are they winning the war of public opinion? I don't think so. Are they getting what they want? Yes. Are they getting what they want in terms of the mandates going back? Yes. Not the overthrowing the government. That's not happening. But is it because of their protests? No.
But look at the attention that they're getting. 99%. We don't even talk about COVID no more. We talk about the protests. They've taken up 3 episodes of our show and made us even semi-relevant.
Yeah, exactly.
So we owe a lot to these protests.
Yeah. Even in like my chats, there's probably like a daily debate.
Dude, one of our
these
groups,
guys.
these guys legit revived one of our groups that has been dead for almost 3 years. Because we got some anti-vaxxers, anti-COVID guys in there.
Anti-science guys.
Anti-science guys. Fake doctors, as I like to call them. Who are all in on these guys, right? And so
Hundo.
It's been fun having our daily banter with them about, hey, your side did this or your side did that. Pat King's kind of a pedophile or he's a ass. I don't know if he's a pedophile. I'm gonna put that on the record. I don't know if he's a pedophile. I just know he's a scumbag. But all I'm saying, these guys have really done a lot for capturing people's attention.
Yeah, well, it's the pandemic. There's not a lot going on. It's either this or we talking about what a jet Putin is and what he's doing like on the border of Ukraine. But because we have this going on at home, it's kind of dead otherwise, no?
Yeah, and actually, there's something I want to ask you about that later. But are the restrictions opening up because you mentioned it? Are they opening up now because the protesters have been protesting and they've like really pressed it and they got the Ambassador Bridge and people are like, holy shit, we're losing a shit ton of money. Hold on, let us let's reevaluate these opening up plans and all that. Or was it just going to happen and the protesters just timed it perfectly?
I mean, I can only speak for Ontario. I haven't been following the other provinces, but I remember originally all the mask mandates, everything was supposed to be done by March, and then Omicron hit us, and that put shit in a wrench. So even then, like the reopening time was supposed to be in February, and that's when the government's supposed to reevaluate the mandates. So hell yeah. But where I will give the protesters credit is maybe,
Hold on, hell yeah, what?
maybe.
Hell yeah that they sped things up? Or hell yeah that...
I mean, hell yeah, in the sense that Ford and his government did exactly, what they were going to do. They said that they'd reevaluate in February after this Omicron lockdown, and that's what they did. But on the federal front, the protesters might have made a difference, man. Especially if the government now is saying they're rethinking the PCR tests when you're flying in. That might be something that was a little bit more rushed and due to the pressure of the protesters.
Expedited by the... So they're bringing us freedom. We're now able to travel in and out of the country. Because I remember the one thing I heard about the PCR test, and they're like, look, the whole point of testing people coming into the country was to keep COVID out of the country. But let's admit it, COVID's in the country. There's local spreads predominantly how it's done. So is there really a point in trying to keep people from coming in now, regardless of whether...
Plus, like, testers out in Canada and outside of Canada are charging like $200 a pop for a test. They're minting money on this.
Dude, I can't even friggin... I ordered some rapid tests off a website almost back in like late December, and they kind of said, yo, we're delayed. They're still not here. I kind of want a refund on this shit.
Yeah, get a refund. Now you get them everywhere.
No, they're still super hard to... Like, they say they're at the grocery stores. They're gone the second you go there. They're still... Rapid tests sound like they always say rapid tests are kind of inaccurate, but it's just a peace of mind of, look, man, I had a cough. Let me just make sure I'm not gonna get someone.
Yeah, I keep them around, man, just for that.
I've gone through so many rapid tests. It's kind of funny that I feel like a pharmacist. I know exactly the process. I'm like, hold on, let me put this up your nose. Oh, I need to do the back of your throat now too. Let me do that first.
Oh, no, I've been putting them somewhere else. Never mind.
Oh, you've been doing an enema swab.
Oh, is that not how it works?
I mean, I guess that's where you get like the best results. But
yeah.
So one of the things that's been weird about this protest, it's not really weird. It's the political opportunism that arose early on, right? The CPC Pierre Poilievre jumped behind it. He made his whole like.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, man, fuck. This guy's gonna have fun freaking branding his campaign. When he came out, his whole thing was, I'm pro-freedom. I'm going to be that voice for Bitcoin and all this kind of stuff. He's pro-Bitcoin, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
Vote for PP. Yeah, I know. I saw that recently.
And the whole Bitcoin thing's a whole different thing. They're going to put so much friggin' restriction on this thing coming down. Thank you very much, protesters. You took away the one piece of freedom I really enjoyed. But yeah, so like, he threw in his bag with the protests early. And then he kind of realized, okay, maybe I need to walk it back a little. I want to be leader of the CPC, and now I'm getting shit on because no one's listening to me when I tell these protesters to go home and like ease up. I don't really have any power with them, so maybe I need to, like, you know what I mean? Like the whole CPC, they jumped in early with them. Now they're backing away.
Yeah, but it's so obvious from the start that this was gonna be something that backfires on them. Why they did it, that was a huge miscalculation. I mean, yeah, maybe they should have stirred the pot, which they did, but they didn't want that and more. If they just stirred the pot a little bit, giving them some credibility, saying, oh, they raised like valid issues, valid questions, or that the mandates do need to change, that's fine. But like encourage them, taking pictures with them, saying they're freedom fighters. Like get out of here, man.
And now they kind of backed
You
it
knew the
away.
bed you made.
What was that comment someone made? They're like, "Yo, if I don't know if it was you who shared it, uh, but if you're encouraging your dog to take a shit in your house and shit all over the floor, you can't really go back to the dog and like scold it after the fact. Like, bro, you took a shit in the house. What the hell? It's like, yo, you gave the dog a treat for taking a shit in the house. You can't come back and like try to punish the dog later. The dog's gonna.
Yeah, exactly. It was fun when they were protesting outside of the parliament and blockading Ottawa because I doesn't see that ever. But now that isn't on the borders and it's at the Ambassador Bridge, the main hub, Windsor and Sarnia. I mean, yeah, now the Conservatives are tripping out because why? You have car factories shutting down. You have factories shutting down. The average worker is shitting on them. The business owners are shitting on them that depend on the trade, and car manufacturers are going down the drain. They're just completely shutting down the factories.
All right, so here's one question I had, and we've seen this kind of stir up. Or last week we saw one of the lawyers for them. They signed an injunction saying they can't honk their horns for 10 days or something, and the
Yep.
judge approved it and all that. But one of the trucks continued to honk their horn, and I guess they couldn't really stop him. Police had zero interest in enforcing it, and they're just like, yeah, we really can't. They said they're giving them tickets, but is there anything that the lawyers are writing up doing that will actually cause things to happen without enforcement, or is it just like paperwork? They're just like paper pushing, haha, you broke this rule, we're gonna penalize you for it, but without the enforcement of it, is it all just like lip service?
I mean, look, man, some of these guys, if they're, do you know what I mean when I say judgment proof?
Yes.
Yeah,
They-
so like, yeah,
they don't really
they
care
don't
what
have
people
anything
think.
to their name. No. Like these guys,
Oh, they have
they're
no
facing an
assets.
injunction. So yeah, exactly. So the one thing they're facing an injunction. Injunction is going to be enforced by cops and law enforcement, or by law. So if cops are not going to do their job, well, what's the other stick that they can get hit with? And that's like fines and penalties. But if these guys are like, yo, I have duck cut to my name anyways, who gives a shit, right? I can declare bankruptcy. What am I gonna lose? What if they don't even own that truck, or that truck is like heavily financed? They don't have any real equity in it. Like, it doesn't matter. Sue me. Like, what's gonna happen? My life is not gonna get much worse than it is right now financially. So then, yeah, if these are judgment proof too, then these financial penalties that they're facing, because there's a court case going on, they're not gonna care about it. So they'll keep doing whatever they want to do.
All right. So basically, the lawyers are useless. They're just there to like get some attention for
No,
trying to.
they're not total. All lawyers are the best thing to happen in society. But like today, there's a lawyer who got an injunction to stop the blockade at the Ambassador Bridge. That's huge. I mean, this guy, whoever this great lawyer is, he single-handedly like saved our manufacturing sector, as long as the cops enforce it. And that's up to the Dougler, man, up to the Dougler, Windsor Police, CBSA, and so on. CBSA, I guess, to a federal level. But man, yeah, get the OPP in there, get Windsor Police there, and enforce this order, or else you're just gonna look weak, and somebody else is gonna walk all over you. And the next time somebody has a problem with the government.
So in my opinion, Ford doesn't like looking weak. He has a very, I'm here for business. Businesses need to be able to rely on me. I could see him go. Do you think he goes down to Windsor with a little shovel and tries to start moving some of these guys?
He doesn't go down for the PR because he probably doesn't want his face to be the poster of it. But yeah, I mean, finally getting around enacting this emergency measure act, and going in step and lockstep with the federal government now, as far as being behind them and getting that border cleared. Yeah, I think he's gonna do something serious, and they'll get cops there pretty soon.
All right. Something I was thinking about with this was there's like, and I know if you're big on Game of Thrones, you kind of, there's the game behind the game. So we have politics, which is the game, right?
Right.
But now you have like the stuff happening behind the scenes, kind of to like maneuver around each other. So we have these protests happening, and people are like, are the Liberals silent on this for so long? Why is Justin Trudeau kind of taking a week off in isolation? Why is Ford not saying anything? And everyone's like, well, Ford's out snowmobiling, Trudeau's out cross country skiing. But the longer they let the protesters kind of create grief for everyone, they kind of hurt the CPC who jumped out early and supported them. And now the game that's being played is the CPC kind of shot themselves in the foot by shaking hands and stuff. So the longer that the protests are out and they're just like ruining the economy, it gives like the liberals and even like the PC party, when they look back and they can blame like it gives them like, haha, look what happened to the other side. They weren't able to control this, and they're like letting the protesters do the work for them come election times, because people are going to remember the pain they were in, right? Or the grief that was caused. And
yeah, I mean, yeah, as far as politics go, these protesters are useful idiots to both the parties. For the Conservatives, they make the Liberals look indecisive. And the Conservatives themselves, they're imploding, and the Liberals are loving it, because now their party's facing like an identity
the Liberals
crisis.
are kind of imploding too, right? Like you had two Liberal MPs from Quebec who both kind of came back and said, look, we don't agree with JT here. I think we really think he needs to speed things up. We're not following the party whip or on this one. We want to make it clear that we're a little put off by the Liberal plan. Or lack of thereof, right?
Do you know the names of those two MPs?
Nope. But they're still MPs. They're still two Liberal MPs, right?
Exactly. Yeah. No. But that didn't really make waves, and that's my case in point. Okay.
And like
it was a bit of a middle finger to JT, but dude, no one really gave a shit, because it already looks like the Liberals are like, fuck, okay, now we let this fester for a week. Now let's deal with it.
And like Ford has his own beef with CPC and like the Canadian Provincial PC Party, where they haven't really shown him the respect over time. They kind of treat him as a dumbass, let's be frank. And he's never been on board with all their stuff. So he's like, when we talked about new leaders coming in, some people said, well, Ford, and I was in one of these PC brain trust chats one time, and like the people there were, and one of Ford's media people and PR guys were there. They're like, Ford has zero interest in running for the federal Conservatives just because he likes being local. He needs to be local. That's his bread and butter. He doesn't have aspirations to be the prime minister right now. He's like that.
I mean, look, him being a Leafs fan, growing up in Etobicoke, and being the local guy, going to local places, that does play up to a number of people, man. He does come off as like your neighbor next door who just became premier.
Yeah. And so they go like, he has his beef with the CPC. So him kind of holding off and letting these protests go when he could have like done a few things to like expedite their
expedite, bro. Come on.
Look, man, English is not my first language. It kind of is. My Punjabi is not that great either. But him not taking the decisive, holy smokes,
decisive.
Thank you. Wow. It's autocorrect, right? You're just my autocorrect right now. Him not taking decisive action. Is it really just like there to? So is that the game behind the game? This is his way of like pissing off the CPC a little, getting the Liberals in a little more stress, because now the Liberals are kind of like, yo, help us out, and he's just kind of like, yeah, we'll get there, whatever. Let's bringing them along.
Yeah, Douglas is playing a little bit of like Kutta Billi with Liberals too, because Liberals are trying to say, yo, Doug, this is your jurisdiction, your playground, fucking, get the cops in there, get Ottawa police to work, get OPP in there, get everything done. We can't call in the army. That's the only card we have to play, but that's too much of a reach or a stretch. We're going to look too heavy-handed, so we're banking on you. And Doug was just like, yo, I think the Ambassador Bridge is a CBSA problem. CBSA doesn't do shit other than patrol who goes in and out. They're going to clear out protesters.
They're not about to get their tow trucks involved and start like pushing people.
What tow trucks?
You're telling me the CBSA doesn't have any tow trucks at their disposal?
I don't think CBSA has the resources, anything outside of like sitting in their box and checking off boxes and letting people in and out of the country.
I'm sensing a real anti-CBSA thing. I'm gonna just put it on record that I respect the CBSA and everything they do for us. Please don't block me at the airport or pull me aside for an added check. It's
Oh,
already
I
hard
mean,
enough.
they do follow immigrants home and then send them to jail for no reason. Sometimes too, they do that. Sorry, there's an immigration lawyer coming out of me. I used to do immigration back in the day, and I remember how the system used to be.
All right, kind of on a similar tone, but kind of thing. I don't know if you've been following what's going on with everyone, but if you follow like just general Twitter, CPC and a lot of people are kind of jumping in that conservative bandwagon. Is it cool to be conservative now? Or are we just in an older bracket where people are
Yo,
switching over?
I don't know when the switch flipped, but the day Pierre, it was actually Saturday night. At night, I don't know why he did it on a Saturday night, but the day he announced his candidacy to be leader, like young kids, I'm talking about like 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds are like posting on their Insta. That's crazy. CPC's never been a young party. I had one of my friends just walk up to me. This guy doesn't care in the world, knows nothing about politics. He's like, yo, Pierre, that guy, he's gonna win it. Bank it right now. And this guy knows nothing about politics, but he's aware of Pierre Poilievre and that he's gonna run for CPC.
I don't know if you follow this Instagram account called Bramley Road. It's like it's another meme account thing where they
I
take
follow
current
him.
events, right? And so they posted Pierre running, and a lot of the comments that I went through were pretty positive. Like, yo, that's our man's right there.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about him a bunch of times already, man. He's a great speaker, but I think you and I were talking about this offline too. But I'll bring it up here. Um, when the gun's to his head now, and he actually has to answer for his party or his MPs or his position, um, I wonder if he's gonna have that same charisma because now there's accountability. As potentially the leader of the opposition, what he says sticks. He's not just some shadow MP anymore. So he, with that accountability, let's see if like he has the same charisma and the same panache.
So part of this kind of stems into like the whole Rogan effect, because I think that's where Pierre kind of links with people, is he comes across as being able to connect with people and he's willing to say things. And that's what Rogan's, a lot of his stuff is Rogan's willing to say things that you can't say in the general mainstream media, and he's willing to challenge thoughts. And it's kind of comes across sometimes that Pierre has that, it falls into that Rogan progressiveness kind of. I don't know if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? He's like able to connect with a modern crowd because he doesn't try to be too politically correct.
Progressiveness. I don't know, man. I don't know what Pierre's progressiveness is. Let's wait to see what he says on like
It's
conversion therapy or like
it's that
reappealing abortion laws. But yeah,
it's kind of like that effect of like I'm willing to stand up and say things kind of straight up to you. I don't know if that's
and
really
not
progressivism
and
and
not scripted.
non-filtered. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sure
I
he's scripted. The more I hear him, like I've always said, he's really well scripted because he's not spitting from the top of his dome with the way he speaks. Like those are pretty rehearsed lines, but he says them very convincingly and very clean.
yeah, but that's look, that's what like the NDP has. He has the same flexibility of, yo, I'm just a shadow MP. No one's gonna really hold me to my shit when I say something. So he can kind of get away with like cashing checks that he doesn't have to bank later on, right? But now he does. Now, if he's gonna be taken seriously as a potential leader, he's got to watch what he says. So before he threw his name in the ring, for example, I'll just give you a prime example. He was taking pictures of protesters, boosting them really hard, and now what's he been doing? He's like, "Yo,
Ease
let's
up.
scale it back now, because
Maybe I'll want to go home, eat some pronte, and we can figure this out later. Let us do our
yeah,
job.
people gotta take me seriously. So now that you guys are costing people and industries jobs and production and killing the economy, and all these clips from me from 2020 talking about how blockades are bad and the government needs to step in with the army. Um, I gotta walk this back now. So that just goes and shows like now that he's finally accountable for things, how he's gonna change colors a little bit. And let's see what he does over the course of the CPC leadership battle. Because man, I hope I know it's going to be a social conservative that's probably going to win, but it'd be nice to see some of the more progressive, better candidates out there that throw their name in the hat as well.
Actually, I want to save that conversation for when Robbie gets back, because Robbie, we still can't hear you, man. Freaking fix your mic. Have you heard this guy the whole time? I feel like he's trying to speak.
He just keeps, every time we say Pierre's name, he throws up a heart.
But yo,
I think he's a crush on him.
so I kind of want to save that conversation for when he's back, so we could get like his insights on what he wants to see in a conservative leader. Because I know he's a hardcore conservative at heart.
Oh yeah.
But moving on, you've heard about this whole Rogan, like I mentioned, Joe Rogan. I don't know if he almost got canceled, but there was a crazy push this week to cancel him. Joe Rogan's racist. Here's a ton of clips of him using the N-word. Spotify deleted 70 episodes. So it's not even like a one-time thing. 70 episodes where he used that word that kind of got him in hot water. And then a whole bunch of people. I'm not going to say it.
Fine, he dropped the N-bomb.
I ain't trying that shit. And I don't really want to say it, so it's not even relevant to me. But what I'm trying to get at is, one, is he racist? Or is it just liberals taking out of context clips?
Like snowflake liberals or your liberal party?
Snowflake
we're talking
liberals.
snowflakes. Yeah,
Snowflake liberals now at this point, yeah.
I think, shit, man.
70 clips is a lot of clips, bro.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he said the word, but even when he said it, I don't think anyone believes he said it with a racist undertone. Like, I'm on the fence, man. If I'm singing a rap song and that word comes up, which it does like every 10 times, do I have to bleep myself as I'm repeating the song?
I do. 100%. I don't mess with that shit.
I don't. Like, I don't understand why my favorite rapper, like Tupac, every time he drops the M-bomb and I'm singing along, why can't I drop it either? I mean, I'm not saying it with any racist undertone. I'm just repeating a lyric. It's a word that's put up in pop culture. But yeah, I'd be very wary about how I say it and be very cognizant who's in the room with me, just because I don't want to offend anybody.
Like, they found a bunch of, and I remember someone else said, they're like, all you progressives are really mad at Rogan right now. What about all these other progressives, like the Young Turks and stuff, who just drop it left, right, center?
Let me just continue on the same thread, man. Like, Rogan doesn't put himself out, doesn't have like this rep or persona that he's racist, okay? She said a word that he probably very liberally, which he probably shouldn't have. But you have like a lot of black people coming out supporting him. That goes to show. Yeah, it goes to show, like, if they're going bad to him, then he has the pass. It's like you have a friend who says, yeah, you can drop the N-bomb around me, it's cool. Then you got the pass. But you only have a pass. You have a gay friend around you and he says you got the pass on the F word. You got the pass.
I'm just saying, though, like, one black person can't really give a pass for all black people. They can give it to, I don't mind it when you say it around me, but Rogan having the platform he has, he's kind of saying it pretty much to the world at that point. I'm sure he's going to be more cognizant of it going forward.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, he's not going to get canceled. He played it well. I think it's because he's, like, viewed and interviewed all these people who have been canceled. He definitely did take the defensive approach. He's like, oh, okay, like, this is my show, I can do what I want, but I hear you.
But he's also had that thing right now where is the media kind of after him because he has this platform that they don't really control. He's not under or like kind of like owned, like, you know how all news channels, Foxes, everyone, they all kind of fall under this big umbrella. Podcast world, Rogan's, they've just kind of started their own thing. They built their own platforms up just by being them.
I think he is kind of owned by Spotify.
I don't think he is really, because the contract he has.
Okay, you think if he was still completely independent that he would come out with the RA? Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Or you think he'd let somebody delete 70 of his episodes and him not speak up about that?
So here's the thing. I think Rogan's smart enough to realize that you can't remove those things, aren't removed for good. And I think at the same time, he doesn't care those 70 episodes or an episode from 8 years ago is removed off the internet. People have already consumed it, right? He's working on the next piece of content. It's a podcast. It's not something that you're making for archives of whatever, right? And he might regret it. He's like, you know what? I probably shouldn't have said it, whatever. If you delete it, you delete it. Whoever wanted to hear it at that point, they've heard it. And Spotify, I think Joe Rogan did more for Spotify than Spotify's done for Rogan. It's not like Spotify bolstered Rogan's numbers. The reason Spotify paid the millions they paid for him was to bring his numbers onto their platform, not the other way around, right? So the worst thing that happens to Rogan is they get Spotify's like, look, man, this is just too much. We can't handle it. Peace. His podcast continues on. He still owns all the rights to it.
He'd probably make more money on his own.
And he probably is. I mean, a lot of his, like, I feel like he's just been so good independently. Like, he doesn't have crazy media buys that I know of. He has a ton of commercials, right? But I mean, I think for him, it was like, what, you want to give me a bag for continuing to do what I do? All I got to do is post it on your app instead of this free one that wasn't paying me anything? Jeez, easy money, right?
Yeah, fair enough. I guess he didn't really need much. He was already legitimate enough. He was like leading the podcast world.
Like, he's the reason, like, most people, I don't know if we apply to this because he wasn't the only podcast that I used as an inspiration, but the ability to kind of just sit there and talk for a few hours, I think Rogan was, people are like, what? You could do that and people might be into it?
Yeah. I think
Early podcasters, I think Rogan was one of the groundbreakers in that way.
but look, I think the industry, when I say industry, journalism, journalists have an issue with him probably because he's not a journalist.
He's not a
He
journalist,
doesn't
no.
have,
But is that a cop
but
out
he
that
has
he has?
the
Is, I'm a
impact
comedian?
like a big journalist.
But does he
He's
have
not
that
a
cop out?
comedian either, man.
He's a comedian. He's a stand-up comedian. He does tours and shows and... Because I don't know if you saw this tweet. There was a tweet about someone, they went up to a journalist, a global media journalist, and he's like, I saw you on the TV, and I just want to say I really appreciate that you only spoke the facts, that journalists, their job isn't to have an opinion, is to report on what they're seeing and report on it honestly. And I think you did that here. And I think that's what Joe Rogan kind of tries to paint himself as is, look, I'm trying to hear everyone's side and just try to come to an opinion, and I'm doing it in a very public manner by talking to these people in a very public platform. And so, yeah, I'm having people that people might not like, but I need them to tell me what their bit is so I can come together and see how I form like what my thought process is on this. And that's his kind of, that's always been his, I don't know if it's a shtick or a spiel, but that's kind of how he's always approached it is, I'm listening to what everyone has to say so that I can come up with my own opinion. I'm not a journalist trying to report something to you. I'm more of a think out loud type guy.
Yeah, or probably just a guy who has a lot of curiosity. Like I said it before on this pod, he's just a really good interviewer because he genuinely shows that he has a curiosity, and he's getting his answers like live. He doesn't screen his people or whatnot. He'll sit there and get the answers live and just be like, wow, tell me more. So that's what makes him a great interviewer, man. But he makes the impact, he makes the wave that like a reputable journalist would get, like somebody who...
Are there any reputable journalists? Kind of
like a Barbara Streisand kind of, back in the day effect. Something
Isn't Barbara
huge.
Streisand an actress?
No, she had the show too.
Oh, no, I'm thinking someone else. I confused my...
The new show.
No, I know who you're talking about. I was thinking someone else completely, man. I thought she was like this Broadway star, and I'm like, no, hold on, Barbara Streisand. I still kind of do think, I don't know who I'm thinking about, Barbara. It's some white lady, clearly, but...
No, I think you're right. She was the actor, but...
So we don't know. You're thinking of
She
that
was
chick who... Not that I shouldn't...
Who
You're thinking
was
about
that news
The
anchor,
Voice,
man?
The View. The person who started The View. She's an older white lady, blonde, short. We'll think of her name.
Okay, we'll fill it in. bleep, edit in.
View. Hold on. View host. I'm going to look this up right now. I don't think we can move on without this. Who am I? The View host react to Whoopi Goldberg. Maria Star Jones, Joy, Debbie. Holy smokes. They got a lot of people here. Barbara Walters. That's who you're looking for.
Barbara Walters. Thank you, Barbara Streisand. Barbara Walters. Thank you so much.
Barbara Walters, the name you're looking for there. All right. Going on kind of the whole conspiracy thing, liberals trying to... All that... The CIA... I don't even know how this actually connects to all that. The CIA, Edward Snowden, made a big tweet about this. The CIA kind of came clean that, we've got a lot of data on a lot of Americans that we were surveilling without their knowledge because, well, data's easy to come by these days. Is there a responsibility for these guys to is anyone really surprised that the government...
No. I mean, look, the US, like Canada, and like all the G5 countries, or G7 countries, they all have like these laws to restrict the government's ability and these agencies' abilities to listen in on their citizens. But there's so many loop arounds, man. There's so many loop arounds or workarounds that, like, yeah, they're all doing it. It's like, oh, I can't listen to you, but I can only intercept like foreign signals. But England can listen to you, and I can share my stuff with England, and England can share their stuff with me about what they're listening in on Canada. So that doesn't count. But even still, like they're still keeping tabs on their client on their citizens, right? So these agencies like the CIA, NSA, and our equivalent in Canada, I'm sure they're doing that.
But there was this whole thing that's, I don't know if you saw this tweet, and everyone is kind of like, bro, are you brain dead? Where a police officer, and they kind of said that the RCMP, I think was RCMP, OPP, whatever. Don't quote me on who it was, but it was a police officer from one of these guys. She went door knocking to someone that was marked as someone they suspected of protesting in Ottawa, knocked on the door and was like, here's a pamphlet on the protest rules and stuff, just want you to know. And the chick who opened the door was, are you admitting that you're monitoring the Facebook group? And they're like, yeah. And she's like, I just want Canada, all the Canadian freedom lovers to know that the police are watching and they're surveilling us. And they're like,
They're
it's a
surveilling
public Facebook group.
forum. Yeah.
And they're like finding out who this person is, and they're like paying them house visits. And they said they've been doing this for a while, like during even BLM and stuff. If they saw people posting on public forums with their real identity and they were able to identify who they are, that they'd go by just to knock on their door and say, hey, look, just a reminder, don't cause, you have every right to protest, you have every right to be angry, but, don't fuck shit up. Is there any time like you've seen people like so surprised or so dim-witted about what's going on around them on social media?
I mean, let's just talk about what the issue is: privacy laws and what privacy regs are, right? People don't have an understanding. Most professionals don't have an understanding what privacy laws are, and what's actually considered private and what's public. So, I mean, just missing that basic understanding, it's no surprise that you have, a Karen like this tripping out that the government's following them on a public forum that's available to anybody to listen in.
But you think just generally like I know you said privacy laws, corporations don't know either, but have you ever come across someone who just posted something and you're like, what the hell were you thinking? Like,
Yeah, that this is the internet. It's not gonna go away like every single pod that we post.
I mean, like, luckily for us, no one listens to us. So if no one's there to listen, does it even exist?
Right.
But there was have you ever come across people who post something on Instagram or Twitter and all of a sudden it's getting retweeted and now they don't even control it no more because someone screenshotted it? And they're just kind of like, well, I made my account private. It's a private account. Or they take it from their
You see it on
Snapchat.
Twitter all the time when someone like says something offensive, and then
The Snapchat ones are the worst, no? Where people get like their screen recorded. And they're like, well, how'd you do that? You're not supposed to do that on Snapchat. I thought it was private.
yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe they have an argument there, but not on like Twitter or Instagram when you post things publicly.
You think they have a good
Like,
argument for Snapchat? I used to tell people this
yeah,
all the time. I was like,
I
look, if
do.
you're posting it on
There's
Snapchat
an
and if someone could see it,
if there's a reasonable expectation of privacy, like I shared something thinking it can only be shared with you and nobody else.
but say they have a
Yeah,
public
then
profile and they're posting on their story and they think that, well, Snapchat's
no,
going to
no,
get rid of
that's
it
another
after.
story. No, no, no. I'm talking about I sent you a snap directly. That's what
Okay.
I mean.
Okay. I was thinking more because when Snapchat first came out, everyone's profile was pretty much public. Everyone just had this notion of privacy in that this thing's only viewable once and it's only going to last 10 seconds after I post it. And then they'd get shocked if one of those clips went like viral or whatever. Because
Is that not what it's like anymore? Like
I
I'm
don't,
off Snapchat pretty much.
I was never really on Snapchat. I just remember the early days when it was like that. And then Instagram stories, I was like, if everyone's on Instagram, bless. Don't gotta use two
Yeah,
apps. And although I still get critiques, some people are like, you're not on Snapchat. I'm like, why would I be? Am I a 16-year-old girl? Am I kind of like,
it's
I always
just
call
kids
it
that
a,
are on it.
yeah, I was just like, I don't need that. I'm on Instagram, man. That's where all the people I know are on it.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, people are really, really dumb when it comes to privacy, I think. Like they'll post stuff on the internet, on Twitter even, and then be surprised if it comes back to haunt them, no?
Yeah, for sure, man. But it all goes back to a bigger problem. Like nobody really understands privacy, and you also mentioned it, I think by accident. Fuck, but you're right. The like corporations don't really understand it. In fact, like their question to lawyers is, "Yo, we had a privacy breach. We got hacked. So like, what's our exposure and what is our exposure?" And really, like that's a hard question to ask because there's no privacy tort really yet. So it's just a matter of somebody saying, "Look, my identity got exposed, and now there's been identity theft, and I got like all sorts of charges, right?" But that doesn't happen too often. So companies just like, it is a bad thing. Let's just like fire a bunch of people and slap some hands and slap some peepees, and that's it.
Now I
But
know
it's gonna change. Right? It's gonna change because the control of information is like a huge commodity now.
and like information's so weird because the way Facebook and Twitter and social media really use information and leverage it against us isn't so much to like pit us, but to improve their own apps. Because the more controversial something is, the more engagement and impressions it gets, the longer they stay in their worlds and in the Twitter bubble or the Facebook bubble. And I know it's constantly been debated and even studied, but like, and we've seen bad actors in the past. Like there was like that one guy who used to work for the Rebel, who was caught like constantly trying to, he was egging people on, posting shit posts that would distract and stuff. And people said he was on Russia's payroll. And ironically enough, Russia's in the midst of the Russia-Ukraine conflict right now. And all of a sudden, all this shit's happening in the US-Canada border. It's distracting us. Is it all connected? Is there like a viable conspiracy theory?
Nah, man. I mean, I'm sure it is to like tinfoil hat people. I tend to err on the non-conspiracy side that shit just happens and people will find a coincidence or a conspiracy where they want to find one. But
But
life is so connected, man.
but like Russia, who's been known for counter surveillance and for their spy program and their like disrupt, like just a Cold War, the way propaganda and all that worked. They got Canada and America now kind of on their heels, like the two big NATO. I guess Canada may not be one of
I
the
I
big dogs, but
disagree, man. Like, I think they're seeing more resistance than they thought they would. Uh, Before the protesters even hit Parliament, like Canada had boots on the ground as quote off quote consultants, to kind of impede Russia's aggressiveness. Russia and what Belarus, that's where like they're all setting up. NATO, I'd say NATO is now like more cohesive than ever. There's more solidarity, and they're like a real fucking threat to Putin's, invasion of Ukraine. So much so that he like had to give some jut ass conference
that
or
was a crazy
speech at a
speech where he's like,
conference.
"Listen, we realize you're stronger than us. Just remember that Russia has a great nuke program."
Yeah,
And
yeah. By the way,
he legit just
there's
said,
gonna be a
"I'm
lot
willing
of
to
losers
fucking."
if you fuck with us.
He legit said, "I'm willing to fucking pull that trigger." The
Yeah, he was like, yeah,
That
there's
was an
gonna be a lot of
insane
losers.
and really blunt way of saying. I feel like if you're the world, you're like, did you just threaten to nuke us?
Yeah, yeah.
His
Over
and
Ukraine, over Crimea.
it's insane the fact that we're at this point where we gotta think. But look, as someone
Now we gotta
and
Google Crimea.
I don't know honestly. You say Crimea, I think about that building from Tetris. That was like the Tetris wallpaper. I don't even know if it's connected, but that's what comes to mind when I hear
Over my
Crimea.
head.
Oh, you didn't play Tetris, man? Whatever. All right. I want to just move this complete 180. 180? Yeah, 180 is going the opposite direction. 360 would be going in the same direction, right?
Same direction. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Complete 180. You hear about what friggin'. I know you're playing Wordle, right?
Yeah.
Wordle's pretty dope. I every night, midnight, I'm on it. I'm trying to get that word. And luckily for me, so far, I haven't 100% haven't failed. I've gotten 5 out of 6. I haven't hit 6 out of 6. 6 out of 6 would be really stressful. But you ever think about cheating in Wordle?
It's kind of a game where if you cheat, there's like no point. It takes complete fun out of it. Because what are you gonna do? Then you're gonna sit there thinking about what you're getting on the first try. No, so I guess the only challenge is how many words do I know that sound or look like the final word, and how many attempts do I want to take?
But So one thing about Wordle that a lot of people are like is it's 100% just based on honesty because it's the same word for everyone. So if you wanted to know what the word is, it's probably doesn't take that long of a Twitter search to find out what the word of the day is. And actually, if you go view source, you can find all the words for like the next year because it's just like hard coded in the app itself, right? So it is completely honor based. Now I don't know if you know who Carl Anthony Townsend's NBA player.
Yes, he's on my fantasy team, so I do know who he is.
You're actually playing fantasy NBA. That's I don't
I'm
know
actually
how to
pretty good at it.
I was not expecting you to be an NBA fantasy guy, but Carl Anthony Towns, he started playing Wordle a few days ago. You know, normal posting it. And the cool thing is when you post a Wordle score, it kind of shows you your guess attempts and like how the letters lined up or what letters you got. Like, you know, when you see the boxes and the little images.
Yeah.
Right? And if you play Wordle, you understand what those color boxes mean. This guy like today's word of the day or yesterday's word of the day, or if I'm posting this Monday, Friday's word of the day was ulcer. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
There's no spoiler here. You've missed the word. You missed the word.
You missed out. Yeah.
Yeah. So the word was ulcer. This guy got it in 3 tries. And the way the squares lined up, people are like, "What were your guesses?" Because it really doesn't make sense based on the way the things colored that you would have guessed these words. And he 100% got booked cheating, right? And it's just weird, like the way it is, because it's kind of knowing what those squares represent. You're like, can you explain what your rationale was for getting those words? Because those are some weird ass, or the words that you would have put up there aren't common words, right? They're not words that would have been people's go-tos for that combination.
I guess, but you always discount the lucky guess. You can't. It's only a 5-letter word.
I mean, but he was coming up. People are like, "Yo, what was your first word? Erger. What was your next one?" There's like utter, erger, other, like utter. Like the fact that the
word started with a U or something. Yeah.
like it's not a common play, right? It's a very. I know what the word is. I'm gonna get myself there using this dictionary just to. But whatever. So Carl Anthony Towns, he cheats in Wordle.
I'm sure there's people out there that cheat.
But what's the worst that you've cheated at? Like something so small and petty that it's kind of like, was it worth me cheating?
Thank God you're asking something small and petty. And nothing that can get me in trouble. Shit, man. I can't think of it.
Was there anything as small as like a Wordle score that you were like, look, I don't want to get my basic done in this social setting, that I'm gonna just fake it, or I'm gonna come across.
Not Wordle yet, but I don't put it past me. I don't put it past me to cheat if there's something on the line, and it's a silly game.
And on top of on that whole pettiness thing, there was this thing. Do you remember Age of Empires? I think we used to play it together when we were kids.
We played it, yeah, when we were younger, yeah.
So Age of Empires 2, we used to play that. It's still pretty popular. It's not huge, but there's still like a scene around it, like an esports ranked scene of people who play it. Pretty, and they're, at this point, if they're still playing that game, they're kind of diehards on it. There was a story that came out yesterday, and it caught a lot of people's imagination, where there's 2 Age of Empires streamers. They're playing ranked against each other. They probably just ended up kind of queuing up against each other in ranked mode. And they got to the point where the game was a stalemate. All the resources on the map, gold, stone, wood, had been mined. There was really nothing, like they can't build farms, they can't generate gold anymore from relics because they both destroyed each other's churches or whatever it was. I'm trying not to get too technical in the game, but they reached a stalemate where the only thing differentiating the two players was one guy had like 10 villagers, the other guy had like 5, right? But they still had like they had a castle, so they couldn't really do, they couldn't like attack each other head on.
Mm-hmm.
But what could have happened is the one player with the 10 villagers, he could have gone in and attacked the castle.
Are you coming up with strategy right now as you're like talking about it?
No. So this was what the whole thing was determined. Like, this is the only way to break the stalemate is for him to attack the castle. And he openly talked about this on stream. Like, this is what I got to do to win the game. Is I got to take these guys and I gotta attack the castle, but I gotta do it at a time when this guy isn't there to like micro fight me back, because then he could kill all my guys.
Right.
So he has to wait for this guy to fall asleep or like end the game. And
Right.
that guy's like, I'm not ending the game. Come at me. If you're gonna beat me, you're gonna beat me. You got to take my king type thing, right?
Yeah.
So this game lasted literally 51 hours. 51 hours in. Neither side is like, these guys aren't sleeping at this point. They're trying to take naps in between when they think the other guy is kind of not there. Watching his stream, like, okay, he's gone. I'm gonna take a nap. Oh shit, he's up. Yo, get back on your computer. Make sure, right? Like they're like just making sure that they can't, and they're like trying to sync their like sleep schedules with each other so that they're AFK at the exact same time. It's like, yo, he has to go to take a piss. All right, I got it. Like, we agree. We're gonna. They were going. It legit lasted almost 70 hours. I think it was all.
But somebody won?
Huh? Neither of
Somebody
them. It's a stalemate. Eventually, one guy's internet crapped out.
Oh shit.
Legit, his internet crapped out, and
He
it
must have
just-
been on Bell.
huh? Yeah, he.
Must have been
I
on
mean,
Bell.
look, I'm not gonna say which he's. I think these guys are both in America, so it's probably like Comcast or something.
Right.
But neither of these guys, like, they were willing to like not sleep, and they both said like, "Yo, I'm not drawing. I'm not drawing." Like, they didn't even want to draw. He's like, he has to come kill me if he wants this, right? What's the pettiest thing you've ever done to make sure you got a dub?
Oof. Petty, I don't know. I've done some like shitty things like hide in a corner while Gopi gets the dub in Warzone.
I don't know if
But,
that's, but something
Petty,
where
I
you're
don't know.
like, or petty, and you know you're not going to win, but you refuse to give the other guy the win. Have you been in that situation ever?
Yeah, probably all the time, but nothing coming to mind. But that's something I can easily see myself do. Sports, for example, some bet. If it's like especially a basty bet that you lost really bad. But yeah. What about
the-
you? So
closest
what's
I-
coming to mind?
Closest I can come up is like, say someone's beating me and like I'm playing FIFA against someone, or
Like rage
actually, no, I don't rage quit. I'm losing, and I know I'm going to lose the game. 100% I'm going to lose the game, but I'm going to make that person, like, if I quit the game and I forfeit, the guy moves on to the next opponent, whatever, he gets his points. But I'm at the point now where I'm just going to sit there and make him wait the full like 90 minutes,
Oh,
just so that he, he's going to get the points regardless. But I'm not giving him like the time advantage of
or
it
you
either.
concede.
And it happens in Rocket League also, but Rocket League's a 5-minute game, so it's not as big of a deal. Where someone might score a goal on you or 2 goals on you, and they're like GG, or you'll like have one of your teammates drop out. But you're like, you know what, this guy's being a jerk. I'm not giving you that forfeit. I'm gonna make you sit there for 5 minutes.
I'm sure Robbie's done many petty things, but we'll wait for him to stop sign languaging us and tell us next week.
Robbie, all I'm telling you, man, brother, just fix your mic. We literally cannot hear you. Robbie's sitting here just yelling at us for not acknowledging him enough.
Fucking
I'm
boomer.
telling you. Like, I'm watching his video screen and he's yelling. He's like, holy shit, don't throw that chair at your screen, brother. It's not that serious of a topic. Like,
Yeah.
holy smokes, this guy's
Better internet,
fuming.
man. It's-
All right, I don't know, just kind of quickly going on. Have you seen this Movie Pass thing?
No.
So Movie Pass, I'll link you the tweet. But Movie Pass recently said, so Movie Pass, the original, died a gracious death. No one was using it. It wasn't profitable. This guy bought it and he's like, look, I love commercials. I love watching like movies for commercials and seeing in movie placement. It's a weird message that this new CEO was giving. But one thing he said, he's like, look, what I want to do is with this new Movie Pass that I'm resurrecting, I want to display an ad. And while you're watching the ad, I want to use your camera to watch you watch the ad. And I want to see your eyes watching the ad and your engagement with this ad. And for doing that, I'm going to give you credits. And the more ads you watch, the more, you can go watch free movies, which will serve you more ads in terms of in product placed ads type thing.
Okay.
Would you do that? Like, would you get this app and let it watch you watch the ads to confirm that you actually watch the ad and not just play the ad passively? Like, does that sound any remotely appealing to you?
No, I mean, when I'm on YouTube and ads come up because I don't have a paid YouTube account, I mean, I'm always pressing skip or it'll even hit mute so I don't have to listen to it. until the video I want comes on. So
But isn't it
no,
weird
man.
that this guy thought that this was a profitable way to like engage advertisers? Like we're gonna get people and we're gonna pay them to watch your ad, and you're gonna
I mean, it's
convince
a
them.
way for him to get like the cheapest of cheap people there to try to help them with their advertising. Because look, what else is the movie guy's gonna do now, right?
Do you think
For
people will
revenue,
find a way to fake it,
fake eyes, fake retinas.
or they'll just put like a dummy in front of the app and like sit it up in the? It's like an automated robot of some kind that just sits there blinking, staring right at the camera while ads play at it, and they're just like collecting these funds from the movie company.
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, if you're doing it on the phone, it's probably using like your iPhone's retina scanning
But what if you like? I'm
from
thinking,
you,
what if you
right?
take your phone and you have like a burner phone that has a video of you just staring at it on loop?
Dude, you're the techie. If that's what's gonna work, then yeah.
I don't
Like,
know if it
no,
would.
no one's gonna take. Who's gonna have that much time other than you to like figure
Look,
that shit out?
I remember when the internet was real new. I'm old as hell. I actually remember when the internet was fresh. Um, when Rogers was coming out, people would come up with like, and digital advertising is just finding its footing. You could download these apps that would pay you. You'd install the app, it would just put an ad overlay on top of your PC. And as long as you're using your PC or whatever, it's calculating the time that that ad's running and it'll give you a chunk. And I remember one of the tricks that everyone started doing was they'd install this app, then they'd install another app that would move your mouse for you randomly.
Yeah.
And so
So
they'd
your
be running
computer's
this,
still on?
their computer's still on, this ad overlay program's running, that, and the only thing it knew that, only way it knew that you were actually using your computer was your mouse was moving, was how a lot of them early on tracked it. I think later on they tried looking at other metrics. But I remember at that time I was like, yo, this is an easy dub. Grab this mouse moving app and just leave the computer running overnight. No one's using the internet. No one's using the computer. It's just there. It's easy, 55 cents to $1. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if I made like $25 just over the course of a month. Just
Yeah,
running this
I
mouse move
remember
app.
I was running ads on my website that I built on GeoCities or some shit like that.
Yeah, and everyone's just like, yo, all you need is have your computer refresh and have this thing. Because, I mean, cookie tracking and all that wasn't near as sophisticated back then as it is now. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking about this movie passing. It just seems like it's going to have a similar type of exploit.
Yeah, and I don't think it's gonna reach any very far. I haven't heard of it, and I'm on the internet all the time.
All right, two more things I wanted to ask you about. One, have you seen Jazzy B say "Fateh in the club" that video?
Yeah. I think it was one of the meme accounts, Springdale or Brownlee Road, who posted it. I didn't think it was a big deal, but
Jazzy B's kind of always painted himself as like this. I'm a Bantik singer, or Taramik, not Bantik singer, but I'm Taramik. I have a Kunda tattoo. I got this. He has a sick Kunda chain. Like that thing probably cost him a pretty penny.
oh yeah.
And at Farmers Protest, he's like, there. He was all Taramik there and doing his thing there.
He fucking represented, man, during the farmers' protest.
Yeah, like he was everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
So does Jazzy B like one is Fateh saying Fateh at the club acceptable? Is it kosher? Two, is Jazzy B get a pass because of all the other stuff he does,
Saying
including that
Fat-
big kind of fade in the back of his head?
I mean, saying Fateh in a club, I think does get a pass. Seldom will you ever meet a lot of people who strictly say Fateh in a club, anyways, just because I guess the ideologies clash, anyways. But if two people who say Fateh over such a color, what's good, happen to be in a club and they say Fateh to each other, then they say Fateh to each other. That's their greeting. That's the way they do it. So fuck it. Yeah, it's kosher. But Jazzy B, man, yo, Joe Rogan, man, he gets the pass. Like people know he's about it. He's about that like Tarmic life. Is as far as
I
like
don't say he's about the Atomic Life, but I think he's
no,
down for
like
repping that
he's down
fun.
for repping the Tarmic angle on things. So I mean, he's not religious by any means, not like that, but like
But he's down to get the
very-
Kunda fade.
Let me say he's in touch with the Khalsa sentiments. He's in touch with what the Bunt and the people are about. Whether he subscribes to that or prescribes to that or not, obviously he probably doesn't really literally, but he's about it. He's sympathetic to it, empathetic to it. So yo, he's boosting you. It's okay. Give him the pass.
I don't know. I still feel kind of weird watching. I'm like, man,
Yo, he did more for the message than fucking Sings have, okay? Because he's got a bigger reach, so give him the fucking pass.
I don't know if I want to give them pass. I kind of just want to. I should be able to get a slap off first, and then he can get a pass. Or I don't got. It doesn't be my slap. It could be any Sing slap, but he should get
What
one.
what
Tupper
Buntic
fight.
Singh has a bigger reach than Jazzy B? Or how many? Very few, if none.
I was going to say Dardanelle. It probably has a bigger reach, but that's a whole
Nah.
different topic.
Yeah.
That'd be a whole different thing. Who has a bigger platform these days? I honestly don't know, but I don't know. I think he should. For him to say it, he should. I don't want to say it a chipper like a tapper across. Is that be
He should
ample?
he should have the sense to know he shouldn't say it.
But you see the fight that came out after that whole thing?
Yeah,
As in
I
the
saw the video.
UK. What? Like when I'm watching this thing and I'm watching these kids fight and I'm thinking, I'm like, honestly, this looks exactly, it reminds me just like when we were back in high school. Has anything really changed?
Just high school though, right?
I stopped fighting in university, man. I'm trying to, I went on the narrow then. I was like, I went to video game. No, I didn't even go video games. I was too busy skipping class, doing nothing really. But no, high school was like the extent of fighting. But I'm just watching this video of these kids fighting, and I'm like, honestly, this could have been us. Nothing's
hell
really
yeah.
changed, has it?
No.
And is that disappointing, or is that just kind of, or is it kind of like, things really don't change?
You know what? I'm glad they're still just throwing shitty punches and not shanking and shooting each other. So
They
there's
didn't go
some
the full
silver lining
BC.
there.
They didn't go full BC man route. Were they just leaving bodies everywhere?
Yeah, but it's still kind of a pussy move for I saw like 10 guys jump on dude, so that's kind of soft.
But I don't know, man. I'm watching that. Talking about 10 guys jumping a guy. You see the last Boba Fett episode?
Oh,
That's a transition.
that was a transition. That
There we
was sick.
go.
We were professional now. Yo, that episode, such a sick fucking episode. It was too heavy on the Mando side, I think, the last few episodes. I think that's a fair criticism, but fuck. That was a sick Western ending, man.
It was a very Western showdown thing. They played that well. I don't
Yeah.
know. The Boba Fett character, I don't think the show did. I mean, did a good job of explaining and describing him. It just he hasn't been able to capture my attention the same way, Mando did.
Yeah, but he's a much more minor role. Um,
I mean, Mando wasn't even known in the universe.
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I think the the series, the 7 episode series, became too much Mando, and away from Boba Fett. I think one of the other criticisms I have is I wasn't crazy about all the flashbacks about his Tusken days. I mean, at most, I deserved an episode, and then just fucking move on and show us about the showdown going on in Mos Eisley. But yeah, man. Even still, like if you don't know enough about the character, you still got to see some badass moves. There was a story arc for anybody who follows canon. He got to kill his mentor, which kind of completed everything. His mentor called him soft and don't ever trust anybody. Look out for yourself, and he was able to get up.
And he stabbed him right in the
Kill him.
heart.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was his heart, but he was able to get him right there.
yeah, but his like life support system was beeping after, so you never know.
He comes back. They always bring him back, man. That's one of the things. There was another show I was watching. They brought all the characters back from dead, and I was really annoyed by that. I don't know. I'll be honest. I haven't liked Boba Fett. I've made it clear throughout this series and it's not. I just thought the production was weird. The pacing of the show was weird.
amazing.
I thought the pacing of the show was weird. They spent. I mean,
Pacing was
they're.
weird.
I get it. They're in the desert. You can get away with a lot of budget type things there. It just felt so low budget though. I just had a hard.
No way, man. That set was great.
It just felt so low budget to me. I just couldn't get behind it hard. And then like the highlights of that show were like the Mandalorian stuff. But even the Mandalorian stuff, like when they bring Luke in and stuff, I'm like, I get that you got to show Luke here and there, but I don't know. There's something about it. Maybe I'm just getting old and I'm just hating unnecessarily. But like, it was a whatever episode. It wasn't that great TV. It's not.
Finale?
It was fine. It wasn't worth me.
Oh,
Like, I didn't feel any deep ways about it. There was no moment where I started snapping my fingers and jumping out of my chair. Like, I'm just not connected to these characters. I think they just have done a bad job storytelling.
Right. I mean, I kind of get like I jump out of my seat every time I see the dark saber come out. Anyway, so but that's just me, and because of the lore behind it.
No, I mean, I've the animations that they did for Star Wars. I like those a lot. I like the Rebels, the movie. There's something missing about this Boba Fett thing that I just can't really articulate. But I don't know if it's the writing. I don't know if it's the production, like the sets, or it's the pacing. It just feels very, very cheap.
I don't see it. We're gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
And on that note, you know that I'm right, because when Randy agrees to disagree, it means he's agreed to acknowledge that he's not as smart as me because he's a lawyer.
All right, suck it.
All right, Robbie, man, what are your thoughts on this? You got like 35 seconds. Just let us know what you feel about
Robbie.
this. Yeah, Robbie's
Yeah,
miming
no
to
opinion.
us. He's just miming to us. He's just shaking his head in defeat.
Robbie's in timeout.
I mean, all you had to do was get a mic, Robbie. Plug it into your thing. We've had this
Don't be so
technology.
cheap. Don't be so
We've had-
cheap, Robbie.
You know what's gonna happen now? Robbie's gonna go out and he's gonna buy like a full-on $600 mic setup with audio mixer, and we're still gonna have problem hearing him though. We're still gonna have problems hearing him.
Yeah. Might as well learn sign language now. This is the impetus I needed.
I know, and if you learn sign language, then maybe we can start posting these podcasts on YouTube
Yeah,
and
we'll do
TikTok.
that. This is for Robbie.
Actually, I gotta go on TikTok. TikTok is where it's at apparently, but
Our
Robbie,
next
this is all your
episode.
fault. Yeah, next episode, will Robbie's mic work at all? Tune in to Much Ado About Nothing. On that note, everyone, take care. Be sure to share this shit with all your people. For the people who message me saying, yo, dope podcast, really appreciate it. Honestly, yo, saying you like the episode means a lot because it means people listen to it. So if you heard this, be sure to come message one of us and tell us we're dope. We need our egos stroked a little bit. We're married and all we do is get shit on at home
Yeah.
by our kids, not our
Feedback,
wives, because our wives love us. Yeah, feedback's great. Give us topics. We love new topics. Anything else you want to plug?
No, man, that's it for now.
All right, I got nothing to plug. If you ever want to see me, I'm on YouTube in the morning sometimes playing video games. Say what's up. On that note, though, peace.
Peace.
Oh, yo, hold up. What do you got for the Super Bowl?
Oh, I got Rams winning, but close game.
So this episode's gonna be put out Monday morning. So you had Rams winning. I got Bengals winning because I'm a diehard Bengals fan. Day one, whatever.
Right.
Bengals winning. You're gonna watch the halftime show. It's basically the Up in Smoke tour from 2001.
Dude, I love it. This fucking great. I mean, I don't care for Mary J. Blige now. But yo, sick lineup. Kendrick, beauty.
I hope my kid lets me watch it. Knowing my kid, he's gonna see me watching it and make me turn it on to Coco Melon or something. But if I do catch it, I hope to catch it because I was too cheap to go to Up in Smoke when I was in high school. So this is my one chance to relive that moment at a Super
Sitting
Bowl.
down.
15
My kid will
minutes.
be in a different house than me when I watch it.
Oh yeah, you're all right. All right. Anyways, on that note, proper peace. Let's go Bengals. Randy sucks. Peace.